Hello and welcome to Tim Conley Drums, and happy Canadian Thanksgiving to all my fellow Canadians out there. I hope you have a great meal yesterday or today. I've already had several great meals. I had a ham on Saturday night when I was out camping, and Sunday I had a beautiful turkey dinner with my family. So happy Thanksgiving. Now, in keeping with the fact that it's a holiday today, I thought I would do a video talking about holiday gigs and various shows that I've done on holidays. Now, I have played gigs on every holiday, including my birthday, which really isn't a holiday, but it's a holiday for me. It's a holiday for all of you on your birthdays as well. So I have done a gig every single holiday, even Christmas Day. Now, Christmas Day, I have probably done the least amount of work on Christmas Day. But years ago, I can remember doing an afternoon gig at the Eaton Center on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day, a 3-dayer playing jazz music in a Christmas style at the Eaton Center in Toronto. And that was quite a while ago that I did that. But I've also done other Christmas Day shows. I did a Christmas Day show in a church. I've done Christmas Day shows in theaters. Like not a lot of Christmas Day shows, but I've definitely done them. And they're a lot of fun because Christmas is a lot of fun. I prefer to stay with my family on Christmas Day. I usually don't take many Christmas Day offers, but in the past, I have actually worked on Christmas Day. Now, the 2 days on holidays that I've worked the most and actually had a ton of fun was working on or around Halloween. And the other would be New Year's Eve, of course. Now, let's talk about Halloween first. Halloween gigs are a blast. You get to dress up, you have a lot of fun, you get to play all the Halloween songs. There's not a lot of them. We usually would do Michael Jackson's Thriller. That's a no-brainer. We would do the Monster Mash. And the funny thing is, I have a really funny story about how playing a Halloween gig and playing the Monster Mash and getting the guy who sang the song come up and sing. The guy lives in Burlington, Ontario. He's an old man, obviously, but somebody told us that he was at the show that we were playing at, and we got the guy who originally sang the Monster Mash. Now, his name has slipped me right now, but hopefully I can look it up and I'll put it right up here or down here so you guys can see. And that was a lot of fun playing with him. You know, he sounds like Boris Karloff in the song, and it was a lot of fun. That only happened once, but I've done lots and lots of casino gigs, especially on Halloween, lots of Halloween parties, both for actual corporate gigs, like we're actually doing a Halloween party for a company. Now, Halloween parties also, Halloween, October is a busy gigging month for working musicians that are in sort of stable bands or guys that sub in a lot like I used to do. I used to do a lot of subbing in. So you're basically from about October 15th roughly till October 31st. Nothing after that really. Right up to October 31st, you're working potentially every day if you want to, because there's just so many parties and there's so much opportunity for bands to play. So I, in the past, would work a lot in October from the 15th to the 31st. Now, actually working on the 31st, I would only do that. Again, holidays tend to pay more. So if you're a working musician, you want to take holiday gigs because generally they pay 2 to 3 times more, because people know that you really don't want to be there if it's just going to be a regular gig. You want to make more money because, you know, it's a holiday. So you're working a holiday. Anyone who works a holiday gets paid more money, even musicians, even though you got to fight for that. Because Of course, a place will offer you your, what would be considered regular pay, but you're like, hey, dude, it's a holiday. I'm only working for X amount of dollars. 9 times out of 10, they will hire you because they realize, yeah, I'm cheap and you're right. So they will break and pay you. So Halloween, actually working on Halloween itself, I've made some pretty decent money in casinos, corporate parties, not too many house parties, definitely more corporate related stuff because they got the money to be able to pay you. That's the bottom line, right? Now, as far as New Year's go, New Year's traditionally is the highest paying gig for working musicians, generally speaking. Now, of course, you might get a wedding gig in the summer that pays more than New Year's Eve gig. But if you're not doing wedding gigs, then New Year's Eve is your day to make the most amount of money. Now, I've done some really interesting New Year's Eve gigs. I've done New Year's Eve gigs outdoors, and I'll show you a little clip from an outdoor New Year's Eve gig that I did. It was a lot of fun, but it's hard to play outdoors. I can remember playing an outdoors winter gig on the St. Lawrence River in Quebec. That was an evening gig, like around 7 till 9:30ish, outside in the freezing cold on the river. The stage was on the river, and everyone was skating around us on the river. The river was frozen, and the entire audience, which had to have been a few thousand people, skating around up and down the river. There was no boundaries. It was just, here's the stage. If you want to sit in front of the band or stand on your skates, everybody was on skates. If you wanted to just stand in front and watch the band or dance with your skates on, whatever, or loads of people just skating up and down, passing by us as we were performing. So that was a lot of fun too, doing the New Year's Eve thing on the St. Lawrence River. But we stopped at 9:30. They didn't want people out there when it was really super dark because it's, obviously dangerous. But we took the show inside after that. So we did a show outside on the river. Then we did the full New Year's Eve show nearby in an indoor venue. And that was a great gig and it paid well. And then for the city of Kitchener, we did, I think, 3 years in a row, the band that I was the boss of and did all the bookings, we did Kitchener's outdoor New Year's Eve event. And that was also a lot of fun. New Year's Eve strange New Year's Eve gig was around 2007, New Year's Eve, I think it was. We actually did, not only was it New Year's Eve, I was playing in a Beatles tribute band, and it's New Year's Eve, but it was also a wedding gig. So it was a combination, New Year's Eve, people are getting married, and they've hired a tribute band, which is very unusual. So we got three kind of weird elements there. A tribute band, not unusual for a tribute band to play a New Year's Eve gig, very normal. Very unusual for a tribute band to play a wedding gig on New Year's. That is extremely abnormal. I've only ever done it once. It was actually a great gig, and we had a lot of fun. Don't recall us playing anything other than Beatles, of course, because it was a Beatles tribute. But the bride and groom were huge Beatle fans, and they sought us out, and they paid us a ton of money to play on New Year's and a wedding. So we got paid well. We had a lot of fun. I can remember their the bride and groom song at every wedding. I can remember their song being the beautiful George Harrison song, Something. And I can remember that was the most fun I ever had playing that song because it really had intense meaning for this couple. This was their wedding song. And whenever I've played any wedding gig, whenever I played those wedding songs, man, those are meaningful songs. Whatever song it is, it's extremely meaningful. And I always put my absolute best effort into playing that song as well as I could, because this is going to be something that these couples remember for the rest of their lives. Now, Something is a beautiful song to begin with. It's one of the greatest tunes of all time. And getting to play that for this couple getting married on New Year's Eve was a really, really special event for me. Now, as far as other holidays go, I played Easter, Labor Day, believe it or not supposed to be working, but I played Labor Day gigs. Um, Thanksgiving, I have done Thanksgiving gigs. Not a lot, but I have done Thanksgiving gig. I've done more Thanksgiving gigs than I have Christmas gigs. Never really done much on Christmas Eve. Even though I consider Christmas Eve to be directly linked into Christmas, I prefer to be with the family on Christmas Eve. I don't think I've ever actually done a gig anywhere on Christmas Eve. I'd have to look into that one. If I can remember a Christmas Eve story, or, look at my photos and go, hey, I remember this gig. It was on Christmas Eve. Because a lot of my stories, I've had to make notes, because I've done so many, thousands and thousands and thousands of shows over the years, and so many tours and so many different things musically. It's hard for me just off the top of my head to remember everything. So what I've been doing is I've been trying to remember, then I've been looking at pictures, and I've been talking to people. Hey, do you remember various shows that were performed, back in 2007, what bands I was in and whatever? Because people remember. Some people, I have some friends, their memory is unbelievable. One of my friends, Chris, this guy could tell you anything that I've done for the last 20 years. I don't know how he remembers it way better than me. But he'll be like, yeah, man, don't forget that show you did in Niagara Falls on New Year's Eve. So, I mean, I had forgotten about that. He reminded me about a New Year's Eve show that I had done in Niagara Falls, and we actually were one of the opening acts for Loverboy. Everybody's working for the weekend. Yeah, it was fun opening for them. They were a great bunch of guys. They treated us really well, and it was a fun gig in Niagara Falls. That was quite a few years back, but still, it was an awesome, awesome night. So holidays have been good to me financially. They've been good to me in terms of their meaningful gigs. The gigs I remember doing, those Christmas gigs at the Eaton Center. Some those gigs aren't the greatest because people are shopping, they're wandering around, they're in a hurry. Those weren't the greatest gigs because you're in a mall, you're playing jazz music, few people stop by. Oh, that reminds me, I did do a Christmas Eve gig in that venue. I mentioned it earlier, the 24th, 25th, 26th. So that was a Christmas Eve gig, but I remember it was in the morning into the afternoon. It was not a evening gig because the mall closes, I think, 6 o'clock on Christmas Eve. So I've never done any real late Christmas Eve gigs. Any Christmas Eve gig I've ever done is always in the morning or early afternoon. So I did remember that one. But on my birthday, which, like I said earlier, I consider that to be my own holiday. Yeah, I've taught, I've worked. You just do normal things on your birthday. I've gigged on my birthday, normal things. I can remember playing a Boxing Day gig in Ancaster. I can't remember the name of the venue, but it's a small bar in Ancaster, and I was sick as a dog and I couldn't cancel it. Sick, 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 like throwing up sick. Those are the worst. I can't stand being sick in terms of stomach upsetness and throwing up, and that you just got to lie down and you can't do anything feeling. That's the worst. Well, imagine having to Still take your drums, throw them in your vehicle, drive to the venue on Boxing Day. Luckily, the parking lot was close, very close to the back door entrance to the venue and close to the stage. That was a blessing. I didn't have to haul my drums up a large staircase or walk through a huge area, a back kitchen like you do at some places. You got to enter through the kitchen and then walk through everyone that works in the kitchen. And then when you get out into the restaurant area of the venue, you got to walk through all the people that are eating and whatever to get to the stage. That's a nightmare. This particular venue, stage super close to the back door. Put my vehicle right up to the back door, opened it up, unloaded my drums, took them in, set them up, told my bandmates, I am feeling terrible, just be aware. They ended up doing a few songs acoustically just to give me a break a few times. I had a bucket right beside the hi-hat because I thought I was going to hurl the whole time. It was brutal. Playing with a click too. So you're not feeling well and you got a click in your ear and the band in one ear and the click in the other. That was a horrible gig. So I definitely don't recommend showing up sick. And now, that was a long time ago. That was probably 15 years ago. If I was sick now, I don't care. I would just cancel the gig because if I'm sick, I'm not leaving the house. Plus, it's not fair. I'm stupid. I did the gig because I just thought, I can't cancel this gig. I don't want to ruin, because you got one chance oftentimes with these venues. Even if you've been playing with some of these places for quite some time, they like you and you're a good band, you're reliable and everything. But that one time, you guys know what I'm talking about. That one time you cancel the gig because you're sick or you can't get a sub. Somebody is backed out. You can't get a sub, or somebody's backed out and it's just too late to get a sub. So you cancel the gig, which I actually have done, but not very often because they don't want to hire you back. It's ridiculous. Despite the fact that you could say, we were deathly ill. We didn't want to make you sick. We didn't want to make the people that come to see us sick, et cetera, et cetera. Nope. They just don't like you because you canceled and they won't hire you again. But you know what? Screw them. If you're going to be like that, I don't even want to work at your venue. But 15 years ago, I didn't have this attitude. 15 years ago when I was the boss, the show must go on. So I showed up deathly ill, did that gig, packed up, went home. It was terrible. I completed the gig, but that was probably one of the worst gigs I ever played in terms of sickness. Of course, I think the worst gig for me was a story I told you guys about 2 months ago when I got drugged in a bar in Toronto. Somebody put something in my drink and I was high as a kite, and I don't like drugs and I didn't know what the hell was going on, and it was terrible. You'll have to check out that video another time. As soon as you're finished watching this one, go and check that one out. So anyways, holiday videos, holiday gigs. There's always a fun element to them as long as you're not sick. And it's always fun to see people in a festive mood. And I've always enjoyed holiday gigs. So I'm definitely going to say that if you get a chance to book a New Year's, something in Christmas, something in Halloween, Thanksgiving, Easter, whatever the holiday is, except for Labor Day, you're not supposed to work, even though I have. But any holiday gig that you get a chance to work, I recommend working. But don't sell yourself short. Make sure you get paid what you're worth or what you think the band is worth. All right. And on that note, I'm going to leave you guys. Thanks very much for watching. Thank you very much for my new subscribers, and thank you all for tuning in. And I got some loyal commenters that watch my videos loyally and comment, and I want to thank those people, especially Zeke Trick, #1 fan. And there's many others, but that name definitely sticks out in my mind right now. He seems to be the one that watches all my videos, so I really want to thank him. Thanks very much, guys, and as always, keep drumming. See ya.